Hello, everybody. Welcome. Did you see that it was an $81 million transfer? People are ridiculous. Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing great and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. A very big thank you to everyone who has subscribed, everyone who's been here for years, and everyone who leaves a comment to help out with Al Gore's rhythm. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So, I know why it's happening, but it's also like, okay, a lot of coins, or at least people holding said coins, have kind of been vying for this idea of like new king of the hill. If you've missed any of the last 2 weeks, there have been a lot of videos surrounding the idea of, the flippening of Ethereum becoming the number one coin, Ethereum being the most purchased asset by institutions, Ethereum kind of, for some reason, now in the news being the 79 million, geez Louise, being the cornerstone of, what do you call it? Finance, like literal finance, as we're hearing and are speculating more so that a number of banks are going to be using Ethereum when they create their stablecoin. This has, of course, we heard recently somebody said he's expecting a $1.5 million Ether, for one coin. We had news also recently that apparently BlackRock is buying a lot of Bitcoin and a lot of Ether, but a lot of their purchases they're buying more Ether than they are Bitcoin, which is leading people to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, or something along those lines where they, did you see? It was $146 million worth of Bitcoin if you didn't see it on the screen. Someone just transferred 140. No, that's crazy. I can't imagine sending money, nonetheless, like multiple millions of dollars, and not sending like 10,000 first, like to test it out. Sending $146 million in one transactions is diabolical. I'd be so scared. Like, what if you had one letter wrong or one number and it just goes to someone else whose wallet address you would never know? Anywho, so in that same exact breath, if you will, there's another, it's not I was going to say new coin on the block. That's completely incorrect. There's a coin that's been around for a while, and people are speculating that it is soon going to triple, quadruple, megadruple, whatever the word might be, in price relatively soon, and it could literally change finance and money as we completely know it. The CEO of SBI says XRP adoption is set to grow. For those of you who do not know SBI, they were more popular in 2017 and 2018. They're the largest banking consortium, I believe, within Japan. We got news back then in 2017 that the CEO, Yoshitaka Katao, I believe that was his name, is his name, announced that XRP was going to literally take over the world. And since, the people from Ripple have been doing a lot. They've been working with a lot of companies and institutions and banks. But as I was saying, as we're getting indications that the market is going to go higher, that we might be in alt season, that prices might hit numbers we never thought completely possible, now we're getting everyone talking about that their coin is going to be like the new it thing in the space. Someone by the name of Tomoya Asakura, who is the CEO of SBI Global Asset Management, has stated that XRP represents, and I quote, the wealth transfer of our generation. He emphasized its growing global adoption by banks and financial institutions, adding that its value could rise further as adoption increases. I think during this cycle, I'm going to be honest, I think during this cycle, if we don't see a $15 XRP, I'll be a bit weirded out. The momentum for that coin, for the market, where people think allegedly we're going in price in the next 3 months, it's kind of, my friends, a lot of them are waiting between a $10 to $15 XRP. This seems like the number where things are going, but I feel like obviously in the future we're gonna go a lot higher, and I just logically feel that. Earlier this month, Ripple named BNY Mellon as the custodian for its RLUSD stablecoin. Asakura called the move part of an effort to build a new system for global payments using both their stablecoin and also XRP. There are people constantly, daily salivating over the idea of stablecoins. It's quite exhausting. They are meant to, as far as we understand, be integrated heavily into the world of finance. It's quite interesting that we're seeing all of this happening, like literally companies and banks moving away from the actual usage of the US dollar in multiple facets within this life. But everyone is like convinced. This is why you've seen there's so much energy around stablecoins. We've had a lot of articles about Ripple stablecoin people. So the theory basically is a lot of banks we know are going to choose to actually use already existing stablecoins. This has been the theory. And if Ripple already has one that their 12 central banks who they're working with can simply say, okay, we're going to use this instead. You know, we get a portion of the money, transactions, like we'll send all of our stuff flowing through your chains. Then therefore it's good business essentially for everyone. But everyone is literally talking about stablecoins being the thing that changes the entire world. It says this reflects Ripple's continued focus on strengthening the infrastructure. The firm has also applied for a U.S. banking license. Logically, they have everything else. I guess it's kind of the next step, which Asakura suggested could lead to a rapid increase in XRP's real-world usage and institutional adoption. It will. It's just a matter of which degree. Will it be a 17x? Will it be a 10,000x? From the perspective of other stablecoins, well, mainly Tether, are doing $1 trillion in movements. Will we get to a point where Ripple stablecoin is moving around $200 billion in a month? What is that going to do to XRP's price? It's all on the same chain. What is that going to do to the amount of XRP that gets burned? We see there's a website you can go to. You can see the rate of XRP's burn. What happens when they have 30,000x the amount of transactions? What happens when they partner with a company who's using their stablecoin on their app for money movement and buying stuff or what have you? You know, it's all, just kind of in front of us. Without having to go any further, I think you get the general idea. The entire idea is that basically XRP is a new form of generational wealth. I'll add in one other thing before we move on. Don't forget that this coin was less than 1 cent. Don't forget that it went to $1. Don't forget that it went to $3. The odds of this coin continuing to rise in price are quite high. Remember how early you are in the market. Don't let other people scare you or try to influence you negatively in some sort of way. And I mean for like a multitude of different coins and projects within this space. We are at the very beginning of this like global transformation for money, for payments, for crypto, for staking, for passive income. Like we are at the beginning. So I know a lot of and I say that because understand that a lot of times people may have an idea that like, cool, that asset. So I'll give it to you this way so we can move on. In 2017, I remember when Bitcoin was at 1,000 and then Bitcoin was around 3, 4, 5,000. People thought that that was the peak. It was nearly inconceivable back then. The idea of a $120,000 Bitcoin was like, when you mean like in 70 years? At some point, we're going to see a $100 XRP. If all of this stuff is being integrated into everything, we're going to see crazy prices in the future. Make sure you take advantage of the opportunity and make sure you continue to invest. That was the point I was trying to make because, yeah. Well, that's the XRP. What did he say? The wealth transfer of our generation. To be fair, I think it's many coins within the crypto space. I think there's a lot of wealth transferring happening within the cryptocurrency market right now. So, you know, but still, thumbs up. Okie dokie. Let's move on. I was actually slightly shocked at this because they don't typically do anything like this. So I was like, whoa, something relatively normal. Metaplanet, who we also found out is a hotel chain or something like that. Yeah. Metaplanet Inc., a publicly listed Bitcoin treasury company, has announced the acquisition. Here we go. The acquisition of an additional 797 Bitcoin, bringing their total holdings to 16,352 BTC. When I said they don't usually do this, the fact that they have 16,352 Bitcoin is a little weird. Metaplanet is known for purchasing 123 Bitcoin, 345 Bitcoin, having exactly 10,000 Bitcoin, buying 888 Bitcoin, having 8888 Bitcoin. So I say this nicely. I think the pressure is starting to get to them because they didn't have a nice round cute little number like they've had before. Metaplanet announced that they want this year 100,000 Bitcoin. And by the end of next year, they want 210,000 Bitcoin. The tricky part, there is that as prices continue to rise, it becomes a little bit more difficult to get to those numbers. They announced they're trying to currently raise, which is insane, $5 billion to be able to acquire more BTC. But nicely, that $5 billion that they announced a month and a half ago is going to be buying a lot less Bitcoin as the US dollar continues to be dragged down and as Bitcoin's price continues to be dragged up. So I do wonder, with a couple of months remaining in this year, if they're actually going to be able to get to their 100,000 Bitcoin at all. I mean, like in general. The latest purchase was made at an average price of $117,000 per Bitcoin, totaling approximately, it says 13.79 billion yen. I don't know what that is. This acquisition is part of the company's ongoing Bitcoin treasury operations, which aim to enhance shareholder value. Since we had that one company announce it, everyone seems to be relatively doing the exact same thing. They're all trying to raise the amount of Bitcoin that they have per share. So there's like the new thing, the new word, the new letters is BPS, Bitcoin per share. So we've been hearing a lot more of that, and I think I'm certain, it was made popular by 21 Capital, the new company that is has Jack Mallers, I think, as the CEO. The entire point of these Bitcoin treasury companies, so not the reserve companies. The reserve companies, it appears, are just buying tons of Bitcoin to have like a literal reserve of it. We need to have some before the price goes crazy and we can't buy anymore. We're going to hold on to this forever. The treasury, the what have you. The treasury companies, whatever the word might be, they are buying to increase the actual value per share of their company in the terms of Bitcoin. In that, as a customer, if you have some of our shares, we will make sure that we are continuously buying Bitcoin so that you, as a shareholder, if you will always get Bitcoin richer. That's at least what the stuff we've been hearing for the last couple of months. So, cool. This shouldn't be surprising to anyone. They've been on a roll for quite a while now, buying huge amounts of Bitcoin. They started as a much smaller company, and they seem to, the aspiration of holding an entire Bitcoin is crazy when you think about how rare it is. To want to hold 1,000 Bitcoin is like, wow, you've definitely had some of the Kool-Aid. To want to have 210,000 Bitcoin in this kind of environment where you're literally like doing anything you can to try and make as much money before all the Bitcoin is completely gone. It's very aspirational. Let's see if they actually end up getting there. And on a nice note, even if this company only ever had 16,000 Bitcoin at the end of this, they're still incredibly wealthy. So they'll be just fine. I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking the video, commenting on the video, and supporting the channel. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.